So with this, welcome everyone to this very special session. We would like to say a few words of introduction to this session. As Helle mentioned yesterday morning, this is an innovative session, something that we tried, and actually that we've been trying to do for more than a year now. It was already an attempt we did last year, which was to invite our China regulatory colleagues to share with us the incredible evolution of their regulatory landscape. So I think those of us working in the global pharma industry and also our regulatory colleagues have witnessed an incredible pace of change in China and in the China landscape. And we thought it would be useful to learn more about it and also discuss about it. And that's why we've been working on this for, as I said, more than a year. So it was a challenge, right, to try to open this first window of our workshop towards the regulatory landscape in China. And it took enormous work on both sides. So I really want to acknowledge that for more than a year, Xiaoni Liu, whom you will hear later today, has worked tirelessly to help us in this connection. I also want to acknowledge Dr. Jun Wang, who is heading the statistics department in the Center of Drug Evaluation in China, who was very eager to come and helped a lot in building this connection. But we all understood relatively late in the process, actually, that the session setting would be a bit exceptional, right? Unfortunately, we would have no physical presence of our regulatory colleagues from China. And rather, they sent us their recorded contributions. So the first two contributions will be recorded, right? But then we have also the exceptional presence of Professor Hu, whom we will introduce a bit later further, from China, who will share with us from an academic perspective also this change in landscape. And as I said, Xiaoni from the industry will also be presenting online. I want to acknowledge that this is not as per our usual policy to have physical presence in the room. And bear with me, it is the exceptional circumstances of this session. But I think it's, because it's very unique, I think we'll learn a lot. And I would like to invite all of you in this experiment to also share your experience and share your questions at the end of the session, understanding that those who will answer will be Professor Hu, Xiaoni, and also all of us here, including in particular, of course, our regulatory colleagues from Europe. So with this, please be ready to contribute, and then Keith, the word is to you.
Thanks, Emmanuel, and also to acknowledge the preparation here. I think the heavy lifting and being where we're there, although I'm co-chairing, is very much on Emmanuel and his team. From a regulatory perspective, just to share with you, I think also from a regulatory expert point of view, we very much appreciate, let's say, the informal exchange that's possible at this setting. And until now, we've benefited from the fact that we could include other regions as well, including the FDA and the PMDA. And I think it's great that we actually now kick off to extend that into including China. And also, to be brutally honest, actually preparing for the session also put me in a position to make sure I understand the developments in China a lot better. So even there's already gain, I think, in the fact that we have a session like this. As Emmanuel indicated, it does come with a compromise. We typically really want the interaction and the people here, but we really gave let's say, preference to actually make it happen. So with a good discussion, that means that the Q&A and the interaction will be somewhat different compared to what we are used to. There's not a panel here with all the speakers able to respond. So we will also try something different there. So we will actually also ask questions to you. And that's actually both from industry as well as from regulators to gain sharing of the experience so far and vision on how to move ahead. So it's really appreciated if also from the audience you actively participate in this experiment. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce the first speaker, and I said this will be. Sorry. Well, the techniques. Well, we are now kind of after a full day used to, let's say, some. I will aim to introduce the first speaker. That's Dr. Duanduan Kong. She's a graduate of Peking University and the University of Edinburgh, where she got her PhD. And so she currently serves as the clinical reviewer of the Office of Clinical Information, Clinical Evaluation for the Center for Drug Development Evaluation. And before joining, she has actually quite extensive experience in real clinical studies, over 30 clinical studies, including first-in-human bridging studies, bioequivalence, and PK type of studies for a wide range of products. So she brings hands-on experience actually on the ground as well. So I'm happy to introduce her. She still also includes a research focus, and that's very much into infectious diseases and tumor immunology. And that's supported by papers and contributions to several books. So it's my pleasure to have you listen in to the presentation of Dr. Kong.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction, Chair. It's a great honor to participate in this session. I'm Duan Cong, a clinical reviewer at the Center for Drug Evaluation, CDE, under the National Medical Products Administration, NMPA in China. My division primarily focuses on the clinical review of innovative drugs. Today, I will be discussing the opportunities and challenges in clinical research within China's scientific regulatory system, with a focus on innovative drug development. And here, just as a disclaimer, the views I'm sharing today are my own and do not represent the official stance of the CDE or the NMPA. Today, I will structure my presentation as follows. First, I will cover some of the latest advancements in the regulatory science system. Then I will discuss navigating challenges and seizing opportunities in this evolving landscape. And finally, I will wrap up with a summary and a look ahead. To start, let me give you a brief overview of the Center for Drug Evaluation, CDE. The National Medical Products Administration, NMPA, is the main regulatory body in China for drugs, medical devices, and cosmetics. Alongside the NMPA, there are several affiliated agencies. The CDE is one of the key affiliated agencies of the NMPA, responsible for the scientific review and decision-making on drug applications. And the center's primary responsibilities include, but not limited to, conducting technical reviews of drugs, vaccines, and advanced therapeutic products. Evaluating different kinds of drug applications include investigational new drug applications, abbreviated new drug applications, and applications for major amendments, and also developing specifications and technical guidelines for drug evaluation, and also engaging in work related to ICH, that is International Council for Harmonization of Technical Requirements for Pharmaceuticals for Human Use. And our center is comprised of 3 types of divisions, namely administrative, evaluation, and evaluation support divisions. Me and my colleague, Dr. Pan, who will present later, are all from the evaluation divisions. And in recent years, China's pharmaceutical industry has seen remarkable growth, with innovative drug development consistently capturing widespread attention. And here I apologize for the busy slide, but this slide shows key trends in NDA approvals, shifts in the approval status of innovative drugs, and also the growth of registered clinical trials. So a lot of information. So you could see from this picture, from 2019 to 2023, the number of approved NDAs has steadily increased. Investment in the industry remains strong. When we look at the types of approved new drugs, small molecule chemical drugs continue to dominate, which aligns with global trends. Additionally, there's been a year-on-year increase in the approval of both therapeutic and preventive biological products. And since the reform of the drug review and approval system in 2015, China's drug R&D has shifted from a focus on generic drugs to a more balanced approach that includes both innovation and imitation. Over time, this has gradually evolved into an emphasis on independent research and innovation. This shift reflects the growing capabilities in drug R&D and innovation. Companies are now highly enthusiastic about developing innovative drugs, with the number of these drugs entering the market continuing to rise. Looking specifically at the innovative drug R&D pipeline from 2020 to 2023, the number of new drug clinical trials registered on our National Drug Clinical Trial Registration and Information Disclosure Platform increased each year. So you could see the number is 1,473 trials in 2020 and 2,033 in 2021, 1,974 in 2022, and 2,323 in 2023. And you could see that phase 1 clinical trials made up the largest proportion, exceeding 40% of all registered clinical trials. When analyzed by indication, the most common areas for registered clinical trials include drugs for endocrine system diseases, digestive system diseases, blood disorders, mental health conditions, and of course, anti-tumor therapies. The diversity of the R&D pipelines suggests that significant potential for the future launch of innovative drugs. The comprehensive advancement of innovative drug R&D is closely tied to the establishment, maturation, and ongoing refinement of a robust scientific regulatory system. Core principles that are fundamental in the regulatory field, such as scientific rigor, transparency, and efficiency, are also key elements in the development of our regulatory framework. There is a strong emphasis on making decisions based on solid scientific data, ensuring that regulatory process is open and transparent, which in turn helps to build public trust. And at the same time, the system is continuously optimized to streamline the review and approval processes and shorten review timelines, making it more efficient while maintaining high standards. In recent years, the NMPA has made significant progress in strengthening the drug regulatory system, with several key developments standing out. So here in this slide, I mentioned 6 of it. First, the ongoing refinement of drug regulatory laws and regulations has created a more scientific, rational, and globally aligned framework. This framework clearly outlines the responsibilities of all parties involved, ensuring that every stage of drug development, from research through to marketing, strictly adheres to safety and efficacy standards. And second, comprehensive reforms of the drug review and approval process have been implemented to accelerate the availability of new drugs while maintaining high safety and efficacy standards. I will repeat this several times. By streamlining approval procedures and introducing a range of new policies, the efficiency of bringing new drugs to market has improved significantly, reducing the time it takes for patients to access innovative treatments. And third, there's been a notable focus on refining regulatory requirements for critical areas and drugs of specialized categories. For medications targeting major diseases like cancer and also some rare diseases, as well as specialized categories like pediatric drugs, radioactive diagnostic and therapeutic agents, and narcotic drugs, psychotropic drugs, we have enhanced relevant policies and regulatory requirements. These measures ensure that such drugs undergo thorough review and verification before reaching the market, safeguarding their safety and effectiveness in clinical use. And fourth, regulatory authorities have intensified the monitoring of drugs before and after they hit the market, establishing a more robust system for reporting and handling adverse drug events and reactions. This enhanced risk management ensures that potential safety concerns are promptly identified and addressed throughout the entire life cycle of a drug. And fifth, regulatory authorities has been actively advancing its digital infrastructure by introducing and applying new technological tools, significantly boosting the efficiency and transparency of regulatory activities. For example, the creation of a national drug supervision information platform has enabled real-time data sharing and more intelligent oversight. And lastly, but most importantly, our drug regulation is increasingly centered around clinical value, prioritizing the actual and obvious clinical benefits of drugs. And public involvement has become an integral part of the regulatory process, ensuring that drug development aligns closely with unmet clinical needs. So collectively, these advancements are shaping a more sophisticated drug regulatory system. This system not only safeguards drug quality, efficacy, and safety, but also provides the public with a more transparent and efficient regulatory environment. The reform of the review and approval system has been instrumental in advancing the research, development, and market introduction of innovative drugs. It has particularly fostered innovation, supported industrial growth, and reduced patients' waiting time. And CDE has focused on enhancing reviewing efficiency by leveraging various expedited pathways. And here I mentioned four, such as the special review and approval procedure, the breakthrough therapeutic drug designation, the conditional approval procedure, and also the priority review and approval procedure. These accelerated pathways are all designed to encourage the development of new drugs, especially innovative drugs with significant clinical value. The special review and approval process is mainly used to respond to public emergencies, and this process played an important role during the COVID-19 pandemic. The remaining three pathways are all primarily geared towards innovative drugs, providing essential support to accelerate their development and ensure a smooth market launch. On the basis of these four accelerated pathways, relevant supporting measures have also been introduced. These include improved communication with our sponsors and rolling submissions of review materials, streamlined review processes, and also strengthened supervision, both during and after the approval. We place a strong emphasis on and actively encourage global synchronized research and development, particularly during the early stages of clinical research. Our goal is to make global innovative drugs available to Chinese patients sooner, and conversely, to ensure that domestically developed innovative drugs reach patients worldwide more quickly. In recent years, we have seen a notable increase in the number of drugs approved simultaneously both globally and in China, with some innovative treatments making their global debut in China. We also place a strong emphasis on aligning and integrating our drug regulatory system with international standards. The NMPA joined ICH in 2017 and was elected to the ICH Management Committee in both 2018 and 2023. This year, the NMPA has been re-elected for a third term on the ICH Management Committee. As of the ICH Fukuoka meeting in June 2024, the NMPA has adopted and implemented all 69 ICH guidelines and has actively contributed to the development of regulatory standards from an international perspective. We have accelerated the adoption and implementation of ICH guidelines through targeted training programs and the publication of explanatory associated articles which help integrate these guidelines into drug research, development, registration, and approval processes. By actively participating in various ICH activities, the NMPA has strengthened its exchanges and cooperation with other member states, thereby enhancing its influence in global drug regulation. The adoption and implementation of ICH guidelines have had a profound impact on clinical research in China, particularly in areas such as clinical trial design, data management, and application requirements. This has significantly improved the quality of research and the efficiency of regulatory processes. And you could have a look at the image on the right. This is a snapshot of our center's official website, showing our involvement in ICH related work. You can find up-to-date information on ICH-related issues. For example, the Chinese translation and implementation recommendations for the ICH E11A pediatric extrapolation guideline are currently open for public comment. And in this slide, I will provide a brief overview of the technical guidelines issued by CDE. As of the end of July 2024, the guideline database of the CDE contains 532 publicly accessible guidelines, and you could check it on our website, official website. Among these, 267 are related to clinical trials, with 206 guidelines focusing specifically on clinical trial design or development technology. And the tables highlight some key guidelines, such as top-level design of clinical trials, evaluation of efficacy and safety, and regulatory flexibility in specific areas, and also guidelines associated with crucial elements of clinical trial design. And since NMPA joining the ICH, guidelines issued by CDE started to align with the ICH framework. In certain areas where the ICH guidelines are not fully comprehensive, the CDE has developed domestic guidelines tailored to local regulatory needs and the specific characteristics of the products being evaluated here. These guidelines have been instrumental in shaping a scientific evidence chain review concept. The requirements for efficacy and safety evidence have become increasingly clear and specific, while the concept of evidence strength has established to support risk-benefit assessments. In today's rapidly evolving pharmaceutical landscape, the push for innovation is stronger than ever. However, the drive towards truly original breakthroughs in drug development is facing significant challenges. One of the most pressing issues is the need to bolster our efforts in original innovation. While we have seen remarkable advancements, the pipeline of groundbreaking drugs still falls short of its full potential. To address this, we must commit to fostering a culture that prioritizes and supports pioneering research and development from its very inception. Equally critical is the foresight in establishing technical standards. As new technologies and methodologies emerge, our standards must evolve to keep pace. Without proactive updates and enhancements to these standards, we risk stifling innovation and slowing the progress of potentially life-saving therapies. By focusing on the future needs of the industry and patients alike, we can create a framework that not only accommodates but encourages cutting-edge developments. And lastly, the need for enhanced international collaboration cannot be overstated. As drug development becomes increasingly global, the lack of consistency in regulatory standards across different regions presents a major hurdle. By improving international dialogue and working towards harmonized standards, we can ensure that innovative drugs are developed and approved simultaneously across markets. This synchronization not only benefits the industry by reducing time to market, but more importantly ensures that patients worldwide have timely access to the latest medical innovations. Innovation in drug development is increasingly recognized as a collaborative endeavor, requiring the concerted efforts of governments, enterprises, and researchers. And in China, this collaboration is particularly vital, given the nation's unique position in the global pharmaceutical landscape. Drug R&D environment is bolstered by strong government support, manifested through a series of strategic initiatives and regulatory reforms. This regulatory evolution, coupled with growing scientific capabilities, positions the country as a leading hub for pharmaceutical innovation. Large patient pool and vast unmet clinical needs present unparalleled opportunities for clinical research. With a rapidly growing pharmaceutical market, the demand for new and effective treatments is at an all-time high. This demand is further supported by active venture capital investment with fuels early-stage R&D and the commercialization of innovative drugs. The country's developing innovation ecosystem, with its increasing number of biotech startups and research collaborations, further enhances its appeal as a global R&D hub. Despite the challenges, the convergence of these factors creates a fertile ground for innovation in drug development. By leveraging its strengths and addressing the remaining hurdles, China stands to make significant contributions to global health, providing new solutions for unmet clinical needs and solidifying its role in the future of pharmaceutical innovation. So in conclusion, to advance the field of innovative drug development and effectively meet evolving clinical demands, a multifaceted approach is essential. Aligning drug review standards with international best practices is a critical step toward ensuring that our regulatory frameworks are on par with our global standards. Active participation in global regulatory harmonization efforts will help streamline processes and facilitate the development of new therapies worldwide. As we continue to deepen reforms in our review and approval systems, it is vital to accelerate the marketing of clinically urgent drugs, particularly those addressing severe, life-threatening diseases, and prioritizing oversight of innovative drugs and advanced therapies, while intensifying our focus on drug quality, efficacy, and safety, will safeguard public health and ensure that new treatments meet the highest standards. And encouraging simultaneous global R&D efforts and fostering the development of new drugs for special populations, such as patients with rare diseases and also our pediatric patients, will broaden the scope and impact of our pharmaceutical advancements. And by committing to regulatory science research and exploring innovative supervision methodologies, we can enhance the intelligence and efficiency of drug oversight. Strengthening relationships with regulatory agencies worldwide and fostering collaboration among government, academia, and industry will be crucial for promoting innovation and supporting the development of new drugs. Building a strong talent base and creating a diverse and dynamic ecosystem for drug innovation will further propel our progress. As we move forward, our dedication remains steadfast in advancing innovative drug development addressing clinical needs and protecting public health. Together, we can drive the future of pharmaceutical innovation and make a meaningful impact on global health. That is the end of my presentation, and thank you very much for your listening.
So it is my pleasure to introduce Xiaoni Liu. Dr. Xiaoni Liu is the biostatistics head of China in Novartis. She leads the Chinese biostatistical team there, but she's also the core member of the China Development Leadership Team in Novartis, which oversees the development of the portfolio in China for Novartis. And she's a truly global statistician. Before joining Novartis in China, she worked for GlaxoSmithKline in North Carolina and with BMS in New Jersey. She has more than 20 years of drug development experience with a number of global development and registration on her belt. She holds a PhD in statistics from the North Carolina State University in the USA and serves in the Global Expert Working Group for ICHE 20 adaptive clinical trials, as well as is a core member of the RD-PAC Statistics Working Group to advance statistical methodologies and practices in the biopharmaceutical industry. So Xiaoni, welcome, and the floor is yours. And I think we see your face a little bit on the screen, yeah?
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel, for the invitation and also introduction. So good morning, everyone. Very nice to have this opportunity to talk about our joint effort for the innovative drug development in China. In this talk, I will introduce the regulatory reforms and the SH journey in China. At the same time, I will highlight the collaborative efforts among industry, academia, and the regulatory driven innovative drug development. This slide is a disclaimer. The views I share today are my own and not represent the position of Novartis. I also include the list of the source documents I used for my presentation. So next slide, please. I'd like to acknowledge the RD-PAC. RD-PAC is the RD-based Pharmaceutical Association Committee representing 46 leading the multinational pharmaceutical companies with the research and the development capabilities. So RD-PAC is similar to the pharma in US, but just for the global companies. I also want to acknowledge the RD-PAC Stats Core team, the RD-PAC SHE17 MRCT Blue Book project team. I also like to thank Professor Hu and my colleagues in Novartis who contributed to the cooperation for innovative drug development in China and provided me the related information. Next slide, please. As I just mentioned, I will give a brief introduction for China regulatory reform and SH journey. After that, I will talk about our joint efforts from industry, health authorities, and academia for the development and the implementation of the SH guidelines. The E17 and the E9R1 will be used as examples. Finally, I will give a brief summary. Next slide, please. Yeah, next slide. As you may know, over the past decade, China has undergone substantial regulatory reforms that have transformed its drug development and approval process. First, in August 2015, the State Council initiated a comprehensive reform of the review and approval system. This was a crucial step towards enhancing the efficiency and transparency of the regulatory environment. In June 2017, the NMPA joined the SH, marking a pivotal moment in aligning the China drug regulations with the global standards. In December 2019, the Drug Administration Law was introduced, followed by the Drug Registration Regulation in July 2020. In addition, the NMPA has implemented many guidelines and expedited programs to enhance the quality, transparency, and the efficiency of the review and approval process. These reforms have aimed to encourage innovative drug development and ensure the faster access to patients. Next slide, please. Since joining the ISH in June 2017, China has made remarkable strides in integrating global standards into its regulatory framework. By last year, China had achieved 100% implementation of the ISH guidelines. This slide lists all the key milestones for China ISH journey. By adopting ISH guidelines and fostering a global framework, China has significantly accelerated the approval process for clinical trial and new drug applications. The introduction of the expedited the regulatory pathways, such as the conditional approval, BTD, priority review, and the special approval, has further shortened the review timelines. So next slide, please. Yeah. This slide shows the impact. Shows the impact of the regulatory reforms in China on our drug development and submission strategy. Previously, many obstacles, such as the CTA approval time exceeding 12 months, hidden multiple national companies in China from participating in global trials. As a result, standalone or bridging studies were primarily used for innovative drug development and submission, causing significant delays in bringing innovative drugs to China market. At that time, I think it's just a 5-year or maybe 4 years delay. It's not that uncommon. So, however, China regulatory reforms have removed the barriers, allowing for simultaneous development and submission. Today, MRCT have become the preferred approach, facilitating the simultaneous submission in China and accelerating patient access to new treatments. Next slide, please. China regulatory reforms have significantly transformed the drug development landscape in China, as evidenced by the rapid the increase in the CTA and the NDA applications for innovative drug development. The graph on the left shows the upward trend in the CTA application, while the graph on the right shows the rapid increase in NDA applications within China. This growth underscores the success and impact of the regulatory reforms in China. So next slide. So we just talk about the China regulatory reform and its impact on innovative drug development. Next, let's discuss the joint efforts on the development and the implementation on ISH guidelines, which is crucial for China regulatory reform and ISH journey. Next slide, please. To support the development of the ISH guidelines, experts from China Health Authority and the industry actively participate in ISH expert working groups to ensure that China's perspective and the unique requirements are incorporated. Additionally, workshops are organized to gather input from industry and academia, facilitating the exchange of the experience and ensuring the guideline meet the practical needs of different stakeholders. To aid in the implementation of these guidelines, training sessions have been organized for the drug development community, including industry professionals, academics, and the health authorities. These sessions play a crucial role in enhancing the understanding of the guidelines. Furthermore, the Blue Book projects for specific SH guidelines, such as SHE17 MRCT and SHE9R1, have improved their comprehension and application in China. So I will discuss the SHE17 MRCT Blue Book project next. So next slide, please. The E17 Blue Book project aims to advance the understanding and promote the implementation of the SHE17 in China. By highlighting China's specific conditions and requirements, the project analyzed the main challenges in implementing the SHE17 and examines strategies and methods to overcome these obstacles. Our goal is to achieve consensus among regulatory authorities, academia, and the industry. Yes, next slide, please. The Blue Book project is defined by tripartite collaboration among regulatory, academia, and the industry. This SHE17 project is organized into several stages as outlined in this slide. Our cooperative model involving regulatory authorities, academia, industry began in January of last year. The first quarter was dedicated to a comprehensive literature review. We hosted 2 closed-door sessions in May and August last year, followed by drafting by comments in the third quarter. The project was finalized end of last year. So the TEL process is more than 1 year. And as Professor Ho just mentioned, the English version will be ready soon. Yeah. Next slide, please. So from this slide, we can look at several key points for the E17 Blue Book. The pooling strategy. The first one is the pooling strategy. The pooling strategy facilitates the sample size allocation and the consistency the evaluation. So it should involve the pre-specified pooling of regions or subpopulations based on established knowledge about the similarities. In order to leverage pooling strategy, it's important to participate in early studies or early MRCTs to accumulate the relevant scientific knowledge and data to determine the impact of the ethnic factors on treatment effects. Where available information is not yet complete, common region pooling strategies such as pooling East Asia may be considered, and the information on potential key factors can be connected on an ongoing basis during the global development process to aid in subsequent consistent evaluation. The next slide, please. As for the sample size allocation, I think Dr. Pan has mentioned it. There is no universal acceptable or optimal approach to sample size allocation in MRCT. So SHE17 introduced a 5 approach. Each approach has its own pros and cons. Is from the MRCT guideline or from just now what Dr. Ban mentioned, is recommended that a balance be maintained between the proportion allocation and the equal allocation. One of the challenges in sample size allocation is how to select and meet criteria for consistency evaluation, which may require several rounds of the discussions between the different functions and between authorities and sponsors. Based on the E17 guideline, each consistency evaluation approach has its own advantage and limitation. Therefore, a holistic approach is recommended for consistent evaluation. So compared to the sample size allocation using a fixed consistency evaluation criteria, in the Blue Book, it's recommended to select serial candidate criteria or endpoints for consistent evaluation. Summaries of the operating characteristics, such as the probabilities of the meeting this candidate consistent evaluation criteria over a range of sample size, could be provided in text or tables. But most of the time, those kind of file or summaries just for the sponsor internal discussion to say what's the best sample size allocation. A balanced approach can then be used to determine the sample size for countries based on the totality of evidence. In addition, the pre-specified the pooling of regions or subpopulations based on established knowledge about the similarities may help provide the flexibility in sample size allocation to regions. It can facilitate the assessment of the consistency in treatment effects across regions and support the regulatory decision making. Next slide, please. The SHE 17 recommends a holistic approach to evaluate region consistency from multiple perspectives rather than relying just on results from one endpoint or one criteria. The evaluation should take into account the many factors listed in this slide. This structured consideration ensures a comprehensive benefit risk evaluation based on the totality of evidence. Just to be noted, the evaluation of regional consistency is not hypothesis testing, but a supportive and descriptive investigation on whether prior assumptions hold true. And we also do first look at the evaluate the benefit risk for the overall population. After that, the consistency between regions and the overall population could be evaluated. Next slide, please. Even with careful design and the appropriate execution, unexpected regional difference may still be observed. If that happened, a structural exploration should be utilized to investigate the source of the difference. So a holistic approach should be used to assess the magnitude and acceptability of the difference. In the exploration, we should systematically investigate the internal and external factors based on the E17. And in this slide, we list all the possible considerations on the right. If those structured even though we through the structured exploration, no sufficient reason is found to explain the inconsistency based on the trial data. If that's the case, the benefit risk evaluation should be conducted based on the totality of evidence to make the evaluation. So next slide, please. I think Professor Ho just mentioned, so the Blue Book also discusses serial special considerations in MRCTs. Even though for some special topics, we don't have good solutions, we just share several thoughts related to that topics. If you are interested in those special topics, we can wait for the maybe later the Blue Book, the paper ready in the English version. So next slide, please. Next, let's talk about our joint efforts to support the implementation of the E9R1 assessment in China. To help the drug development community in China to better understand the assessment framework and support the implementation of the SH-E9R1 in China, the efforts are focused on the assessment training and assessment Blue Books. Next slide, please. In 2022, we organized the Esmond training that attracted over 2,000 participants from various fields and functions, making it one of the largest training events in China. The training featured 11 speakers from regulatory bodies, academia, and industry, and covered concepts, case studies, practical experience, and statistical analysis under the Esmond framework. This training was attended by a diverse audience, including the professionals from the different areas of the industry, such as biostats, clinical development, RA, data management, medical affairs, and clinical operations. It also includes a hospital and clinical center investigators, statistical professors and graduates, and also the clinical and the stats reviewers from the CDE. Next slide. Then we will talk about the Esmond Blue Book. The primary purpose of this Esmond Blue Book is to enhance the drug development community in China, understanding of the Esmond framework, and facilitate the implementation. It was sponsored by the DIA China Biostats community. The project included contributions from the over 30 experts from both industry and academia, specializing in Esmond. The content has been meticulously reviewed by the global experts from more than 20 institutions, as well as reviews from the China CDE. The targeted audience for this project includes the stats, clinician, investigators, and academia, and the clinic, and also the reviewers. So next slide, please. Here are the two versions of the Esmond Blue Book. The first version was issued in October 2021. The first version introduced Esmond framework and provided case studies and protocol descriptions. The second version was issued in September 2022. It enhanced the Esmond concept, including regulatory guidelines, and discussed practical considerations. The next slide, please. And this year, the Blue Book has been upgraded into the book titled Esmond in Clinical Trial Practical Guide to be published in spring. Comparing to the Blue Book, the version 1, version 2, it further incorporated additional materials. And the latest developments particularly focus on the regulatory guidance and their integration with the Esmond framework. This book has engaged over 70 experts from the industry, regulatory, and academia as authors, and over 40 reviewers from the globally. This book will further align the implementation practice in China with global and enhance the collaborations between China and global. And at this moment, I also give this special thanks to our colleague, Novartis colleague, Jia Wei. She is co-leading the whole efforts. Yeah. Next slide, please. In summary, China regulatory reform and SH journey have facilitated the simultaneous drug development and submission, promoting the innovative drug development. The cooperation among industry, health authorities, and academia is essential for developing and implementing the SH guidelines-driven innovation, and make sure China's regulatory practice remain at the forefront of the global standards. The collaboration ensures that the guidance are not only adopted, but effectively translated into practice, meeting the unique needs and conditions of China. So that's my talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Shoni.